Welcome back, and so let's get straight to our very first conversation, which appears to be something brewing in Delta State, but there's a backstory to it. Recall that towards the end of 2024, the former governor of Delta State, Senator Okowa, was invited by the EFCC and quizzed over allegations of diverting 1.3 trillion naira. Of course, the aides to the former governor spoke to that, saying that nothing could be further from the truth, that the former governor embarked on massive infrastructure development to which the EFCC were invited, to monitor and audit, and they were satisfied by that event, by that, audit of the funds of the commission. But not long after, we also saw that the former governor defected from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressives Congress. And since then, nothing has been heard about the invitation of the former governor of Delta State. But a group has since arisen, to demand that the EFCC rearrests the former governor and, of course, tries him for those allegations. And so joining us on the program this morning to speak on behalf of that group is Mr. Ofochi Atagana, convener of Coalition of Delta North Groups, who joins us from our Abuja studio. Mr. Atagana, good morning and welcome to the Morning Brief.
Oh, good morning, thank you.
Now, I'm looking through some of your demands as contained in your letter written to the EFCC, and let me just read from some of them. We issue a 7-day ultimatum to the EFCC to effect the arrest and arraignment of Senator Dr. Okowa. Should the commission fail to meet the demand at the expiration of the 7-day ultimatum, the Coalition of Delta North Youths will have no option but to mobilize the Delta State youths to occupy the EFCC headquarters. So that is your resolve. Let's start from this particular point. Perhaps you also want to tell us why the Delta North youth is now rising to, reopen this case nearly a year after the FCC initially quizzed the former Delta governor.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, thank you. For us, we feel there's no better time to call on the EFCC to reopen the case, because a few months ago, I was a victim. I was a victim of the alleged diversion of the 1.3 trillion naira and another 40 billion naira as alleged by the EFCC against the person of Dr. Okowa, the former governor of Delta State. Why do I say I was a victim? I'm a Deltan. I come from Delta North, precisely. And my mother took ill a few months ago. I sent her to the hospital. There was no doctor. There was no doctor. Before then, my little niece was sick. The same issue happened. And this same person who had the opportunity to utilize the revenue that came to Delta State, especially the 13% derivation, he had the opportunity of using it to fix infrastructure, employ medical personnel, but he never did. This is somebody that is coming from the health sector, because Dr. Okowa is a medical doctor, but he never did all of this. So, looking at this time, this same person is presenting himself again to represent us at the Senate. And to me, I was like, wait a minute. You had the opportunity to develop our area, to utilize the resources that came to us, that accrue to us, being oil producing state. But you never did. How then should we allow you to go and represent us again? And I began to investigate. Alongside some of my comrades, we began to investigate, and we got good intelligence that the EFCC have concluded, they have concluded investigation against Dr. Okowa, and they have watertight case against him. But because of, like we were told some time ago by one of the leaders of the APC, that when you defect to the ruling party, the APC, your sins are forgiven. And to us, it shouldn't be that, because the APC as a political party, they came to power on the promise to fight corruption. So when we now have somebody who has been indicted to have misappropriated or diverted a whooping sum of 1.3 trillion naira and another 40 billion naira which he cannot account for, defecting from the People's Democratic Party to the APC, and from there henceforth the matter seems to have died. To us, that is unacceptable. If we are serious as a country, ready to fight corruption, the APC should not be a haven for the accused persons to hide. And for me, APC, knowing the manifesto of the APC is not a party that shields criminals. Therefore, Dr. Okowa, being a member of the APC, should not be shielded if we are serious about the fight against graft.
Mr.
So to me, being a victim, I think the EFCC, having concluded the investigation, should, and I say, they should rearrest Dr. Okowa and arraign him. That is the simple demand we have made.
Mr. Takana.
I don't have anything against the person. I don't have anything, just a moment. I don't have anything against the person of Okowa, but the issue I have is the issue of corruption. And like the late President Muhammad Buhari said, if we do not fight corruption, corruption will kill us as a country. So the earlier we take up this issue, the better. I am a stakeholder. I am an indigene of Delta State.
All right.
I am an indigene, particularly of Delta North.
All right.
Thank you so much.
You say your agitation has been born out of the rot that you have seen in the health sector, and you are disheartened because the former governor himself is a doctor, and you waited a year and a year and a half before coming through, with this renewed call for the arrest of the former governor. Wasn't this,
like I said,
wasn't this, hold on, let me land, hold on. Didn't you observe this, didn't your group, discover this rot in the health sector in Delta State in 2024 when the governor was arrested by the FCC? And why didn't you follow through all of this time with the arrest to investigate and discover whatever it is that you have discovered now, such that the justice system would have at least begun at that time?
Okay, thank you. Like I said, yeah, I have been aware of Dr. Fanny's arrest and detention precisely on November 4th, 2024. I have been aware, but I never, yeah, I think I should take responsibility because it never hits me, because I never saw a reason. To me, I felt the due process of the law should have its course. But it didn't affect me personally until about 2 or 3 months ago. When my own mother could not access health care in a state where somebody is alleged to have misappropriated 1.3 trillion naira and another 40 billion naira, to put it in perspective. So I didn't quite feel it that much. Then what further piqued my interest to say, hold on, this same person has an allegation against him. Is he the best that Delta North have? Is he the best that we can put forth there to say represent us? And to me, he's not the best. He should go and clear himself of the allegation against him before he can. You see, we the Delta Northerners, we the Anambra people, we are proud people, and we have people who are eminently qualified with no iota of crime
Mr. Atagana, if I may comment,
linked to them.
Yes, Mr. Atagana, if I may comment,
So
just a moment.
to us,
Can you hear me? Can you hear me, sir?
yeah, I can hear you. Go on. Yeah, go on.
First, I empathize with you over the inability of your mom to be able to get the kind of quality health care she was supposed to get. I think she deserves better. On the other hand,
thank you.
On the other hand, is the fact that it may be, you can correct me if I'm wrong, your part of the town is where what he did for the state has not gotten to or did not get to. I don't know whether this is the testimony of the entire...
I beg to differ. I am sorry for butting
Can you just hold on? Can you just hold on, please? Just hold on, so that I can land with my question. I don't think, I don't know whether everybody in Delta will say he didn't do anything. Now, let's stay with the issue. First, he's not a criminal.
It cuts across.
Yes. First, he's not a criminal because there's no court that has found him to be a criminal. So I needed to correct that impression.
Alleged.
Gentleman, Mr. Atagana, can you calm down?
Okay, go on.
All right. So, first is an allegation. That's on one hand. So, is this really about calling on the EFCC to do their work, or this is about politics? Are you being funded to come and do what you're doing on TV?
I will say with all sense of responsibility that I am not partisan. I am not a card-carrying member of any political party, and I say this again, anybody can run background check on me. I am not being funded. As far as I'm concerned, I come from a block. I come from an area that has been completely abandoned. I come from the Ndokwa Okwani Federal Constituency. We produce so much oil. We have huge deposits of gas, but the development there is abysmal. In fact, there is no single development in all of the communities that make up Ndokwa Okwani Federal Constituency. In fact, there was a post from the verified Facebook handle of Dr. Okowa, then as governor of Delta State, precisely on 21st of October 2019, wherein he stated that he just arrived China. What was the purpose? He said it was to meet investors for the Kwale Industrial Park. Kwale Industrial Park. And he said Kwale Industrial Park will provide job opportunities for around 70,000 Deltans. As I speak to you, send your investigative journalists, send your colleagues to go to Kwale and ask and find out and investigate if there is a functional Kwale Industrial Park. Mind you, it was reported that Dr. Okowa's government budgeted 800 million naira as compensation to those whose lands were acquired, and another $10 billion, somewhere around $10 billion as counterpart fund for 25% equity in that same Kwale Industrial Park.
Mr. Atagana, I think the point is noted. Just a moment, because of time, we don't have the luxury of time. So let me throw in this before my colleague comes in. If Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, who is a former governor of Delta State, if he wasn't running for, and I respect the fact that a citizen will take up this case to the EFCC to say, EFCC, how far? You should have done your work. That's commendable. But my question is, if he didn't show interest in running for the senatorial seats in the Delta North now, would you have approached the EFCC?
I pretty well would have approached the EFCC because, like I said, it didn't occur to me. It didn't, because I have been, probably I will take responsibility for staying aloof, being apolitical, staying away from politics, until it was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking that people so close to me could not. I know how much I had to spend for them to get access to health care outside of Ukwani land, outside of Ndokwa, the federal constituency. We had to go and source for health care services elsewhere. Right. Meanwhile, someone who incidentally comes from the health sector was a governor, and not just a governor. Senator Okowa doesn't come from Delta Central. He doesn't come from Delta South. He comes from my Central District, the Delta North Central District. Yet he failed us woefully.
All right.
He failed us woefully.
And you know, you have a right.
Whether he had contested or not, right, I still would have petitioned the EFCC to find out.
Right.
Because at that time, he had not declared.
Well, Mr.
He had not declared.
You certainly have a right to express yourself. So, you're a citizen and someone who is closely impacted by the governance of the former governor. So, I mean, nobody's taking that from you. But you'll understand why there are questions around the motive why you're doing this. He announces, even before he announced, or he made the announcement, a lot of people already saw that coming, right? So people are thinking, who may be possibly responsible for this? And that's how people think. It's a natural thing. They try to connect the dots. Okay. So they think, okay, he has announced he wants to run for senatorial seat, Delta North. Who's going to be threatened the most? And they look around, they say, oh, wait a minute, there's Senator Ned Nwoko who's occupying that seat right now. He's going to be threatened naturally, and that's a natural thing. There's even the former Delta State House of Assembly Speaker, Victor Che, on the wings as well. But then they zero in on Senator Ned Nwoko because they see that he's a prominent figure, he's represented the people. And if you naturally look at both of you, what is the link? You are supporting the creation of Anioma State. He's also supporting the creation of Anioma State. So you'd understand again why people are wondering, are you being sponsored by him to do this? Is there something that we do not know that is playing out here? So again, that question has come up. So have you had conversations in recent times? If I'm a button. No, it's your floor now. Your floor is yours now.
Okay. Now, until we stop politicizing every noble cause in this country, we will still continue to struggle as a people. There is no doubt. It is within my right. It is within my right to agitate for the creation of Anioma State. Just as it is within the right of Okowa to aspire to any office in this country. The Constitution is very clear about that. But to say Senator Nwoko is funding me, that is preposterous. That, for me, is preposterous. Because Senator Nwoko didn't know me. I didn't know him. As a matter of fact, the issue around Anioma State, on the contrary, I can speak confidently because I was the first person to draft the memorandum for the creation of Anioma State. And I went with my colleagues to the House of Representatives to submit the memorandum. And I have the documents. The documents are there. At that time, Senator Ned didn't even think of Anioma State. But after we have submitted the memorandum for the creation of Anioma State, I start to be quoted. You can quote me anywhere. After we had submitted the memorandum, I called my comrades and I said, listen, this memorandum will just die naturally if we do not have someone at the National Assembly pushing it for us. At that time, we began to make plans. Who do we approach? We began to look for ways to approach the 3 members representing the 3 federal constituencies that make up Delta North. They were literally not accessible. Then we decided to say, okay, let us see if we can access Senator Ned Nwoko. And of course, we were able to access him. At that time, I was not part of those who visited him. But when we finally got talking, he gave us his word. He said, okay, if this is what I represent you, if this is what you want, I will in response to the demands of you people who I represent, I will take this up.
So you're confirming.
So, and your state creation, although
Mr. Tagana, just a moment.
Politicized,
so you're confirming that you've had conversations with him, you've had meetings with him, you have a relationship with him.
Yes, but that does not. You see, we should not. Excuse me. We should not divert attention from the substance of the corruption allegation that has been leveled against the person of Dr. Okowa. I am a prominent agitator. I'm a critical agitator for the creation of an Yoma state. You cannot use that. Are we now saying that because I have been agitating for an Yoma state and Senator Ned has been the one pushing for an Yoma state, are we now saying that that is sufficient to water down the corruption allegation or the criminal allegation that has been leveled against Dr. Okowa? Are we now saying that exculpates Okowa? No. Let him go and answer for the allegation. Nobody should politicize this. Otherwise, we will end up chasing
Mr. Tagana.
How do I put it? Chasing shadows. We end up chasing shadows in the name of fighting corruption. If we are serious as a people to fight corruption, we should be able to separate between a legitimate agitation for state creation and corruption. The fight against
Mr. Tagana,
we should not mingle them together. Thank you.
You're confirming now that indeed you know Senator Senator Ned Nwoko, that you have had interactions.
Nobody from Anyoma.
But moments ago,
from Anyoma who does not know him.
But moments ago, you denied knowing him.
I didn't deny knowing him. I said he doesn't be prior to that.
No, moments ago, you said you had never had interactions with him, that you didn't know him.
No, you can't misquote me. I said prior to the agitation for Anyoma State, he never knew me. I never knew him. What brought us together is the agitation for Anyoma State, because the agitation for Anyoma State has been on. So in fact, it predates Senator Ned. It predates me. But like I told you, I was the person that drafted the memorandum. I drafted the memorandum for the creation of Anyoma State. So Anyoma State is not going to be. You cannot use Anyoma State agitation to water down the huge allegation against Senator Okowa. We cannot politicize that allegation. Senator Okowa has been indicted. The EFCC, I'm calling on the EFCC to rearrest him and arraign him. That is what we should be talking about.
Mr. Tagana.
Anyoma State.
Mr. Tagana.
Different issues.
Yes, indeed. So in the race for 2027, for the senatorial ticket for Delta North, who do you believe is better suited to secure that ticket? Senator Okowa or Senator Ned Nwoko?
Like I said,
no, it's a straightforward question.
For me to decide.
It's a straightforward question.
It is not for me to decide. My answering is that it is not for me. My interest is not about who goes to the Senate to represent us. My interest is on the indictment of Senator Dr. Ifeanyi Ato Okowa.
All right.
He needs to be rearrested and arraigned. That is my interest. I don't care if he goes to the National Assembly, so long as he is rearrested and arraigned. I don't care if he goes to it is within his right. He has constitutional right to go to represent us. If we the people decide that if we elect him to represent us, that is, I don't have interest about whether
Mr. Tagana,
Oche is the person or he.
Yes, we have more questions for you, so just hang on there. But we have joining us now the former governor's representative to speak to some of these issues that you have raised. Jeffrey, you have that one.
Well, Mr. Ifejika is the Chief Press Secretary to former Governor Okowa. Mr. Ifejika, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
I want to believe you've been listening to Mr. Tagana. So just as a recap of what he said he wasn't really interested in all of this because we've asked him several questions whether he's politically motivated. He's denied that flat. He said his mother was sick and he wanted to get some health care for his mom, but because Senator Okowa allegedly did not do what he should do as governor, he couldn't get that quality of health care for his mom. And he said, look, widespread within where it comes from, there's no representation of anything to hold on to under Senator Okowa's leadership as governor. And he's worried that as it has affected him as citizen, and he found out that the EFCC has leveled allegations that has to do with money against the former governor, and they're now silent, suspecting that maybe he's going to join the APC. Say, no, we need to get to the bottom of the case. How do you respond to all of this?
Thank you very much. First, I want to feel that Mr. Tagana doesn't live in Delta State. Because if he lived in Delta State, he would have known how much was done in the health sector by Senator Dr. Okowa when he hailed through as governor. For a start, as a senator then, way back between 2011 and 2015, before he became governor, Senator Okowa led the party that sponsored the bill for what we have today as National Health Act. And as governor, he domesticated everything in that bill that became law. And in this state, we do not only have a robust health service that takes care of the vulnerable. What I mean vulnerable now, the pregnant women, under 5 children, and all of that, free medical services. And to give these services to the people, he ensured that the centers, all health centers, hospitals, were upgraded to meet these services. And if Mr. Tagana, that he claims that he is from Delta, there was another angle to the health services that was in this state a health insurance scheme that costs an individual only 7,000 naira per annum for anybody to access health care. 7,000 naira health insurance. So if you could not pay that to avail health service for his mother, I wonder where he went to. So Senator Okowa was one man that provided services all over the place in Delta, apart from the teaching hospital that we have in Ogara. The next good one is in Warri. I don't know where he lives in Delta, because he didn't even say which hospital he took his mother to that there was no service. He didn't tell us until you didn't ask him. Well, we needed to know where he took his mother to, that there was no health service. He didn't say that. And I imagine that let me say this. It's obvious from the questions you asked him that he's a jobber. He's working for a paymaster, no doubt about it. Elections are here. Senator Dr. Okowa left office close to 3 years ago, and he's talking about his services now. And taking it to Okowa, there's Okowa that didn't provide the services on the avenues. Of course, you know what that means. It's because of election. And I know that during the elections, we talk about thuggery. Thuggery, people attacking people, carrying ballot boxes. But we cannot say that we're witnessing an era of thuggery in social media, thuggery on the tubes. That's exactly what he's doing. I'm sorry to say all of this because it's obvious that he has come here because the election is here.
Well, he has denied that he's doing any of this for politics, and he has a right.
No. What I'm trying to
pardon
say,
me, let me land. He has denied that he's doing this for politics. In fact, we asked him who does he want, and he says no, he's not doing it for politics, and that's what we should cultivate in Nigeria. Citizens have a right to say, well, this government didn't do this or failed to do this when it was in power, and it promised me this, and for that reason I think that this particular government or governor or whoever should be probed, should be investigated, and we shall have the law take its full course. But you know, you raised some points. Let's quickly go back to Mr. Tagana to respond to some of the points you made, Mr. Tagana.
Thank you so much. You see, when a politician like Mr. Agitator comes on air to misinform the people, I laugh. I laugh because he is conflicted. Someone who is working for Dr. Okowa cannot come here and say otherwise. I come from Obiaroko. Listen, this is not conjecture. This is not mere allegation. I challenge any investigative journalist to go through the whole of Delta State and investigate how many doctors are in the general hospitals. The Obiaroko General Hospital in my community has no doctor. So this is not about whether Dr. Okowa, when he was senator, he sponsored a bill. These are mumbo jumbo. This is mumbo jumbo. You cannot. You see. We should not make bogus claims on air. We are supposed to let the people know the facts. The fact is that there are no doctors. That is why the current government of Oborowore is attempting to recruit doctors. If they were doctors, if Dr. Okowa recruited doctors into the public hospitals in Delta State, why will Governor Sheriff Oborowore be doing the same thing? Less than 3 years. Less than 3. The fact is, there is no, in fact, there are no doctors in the public hospitals. So we should not come here and misinform people that, yes, that was his duty as a legislator. He wasn't in the Senate. He wasn't in the Senate in 2011 to 2015 just to make up the numbers. He was there to ensure that he sponsors bill. And being a medical doctor, coming from the medical sector, that was the least he would have done. But for somebody to come on air is a pity. It's a pity that we have characters like this as leaders. Honestly, it's a pity, because you should, as a leader, you should come to here and educate your people rightly and not try to politicize everything. I know to Mr. Agitator, everything is politics. But to me, I am not a politician. Like he rightly said, he has not seen my face in the Delta State
Pardon me, let me come in there.
Beyond State agitation.
Yes, pardon me. Deltans who are watching this would be the ones to decide whether this is about politics or not. They would have to draw from your comments and that of Mr. Agitator. Mr. Agitator, I'm sure that you want to respond to some of the things that Mr. Tagana has said about the health sector in Delta North. But help us also understand how and why since 2024, when the EFCC invited Senator Dr. Okowa for questioning over alleged diversion of 1.3 trillion naira derivation funds, I believe another 40 billion naira claimed he used to acquire shares in UTM, floating liquefied natural gas. And of course, another 40 billion naira used to purchase shares in major banks in the country. These are weighty allegations. So why has the EFCC not followed through since 2024 and given Nigerians a clear direction over whether the former governor has a case to answer and whether there should have been a commencement of a trial?
First, let's go back a bit to the health issue, because it took my question for him to say where he is from in Delta State. He just said that he took his mother to a hospital in Obiaroko in Okowa. We don't know when he did that, whether it was this year, last year, or some years back. But it's on record that Okowa, as a medical doctor, gave special attention to the health sector. In 2019 alone, no less than 500 health workers, including medical doctors, were employed. And all hospitals had this personnel working. If because of the drift, people leaving this country because of economy, and the present administration is employing new doctors, it means that both the former administration and the new administration is concerned about the health sector. That they found that people left, nurses and doctors, and Sheriff Oboro's administration is employing more. Senator Dr. Okowa employed no less than 200 doctors in his time. 500 health workers in all were employed. So we didn't lack medical personnel at all. And it's only Delta, like I said, he didn't say when he took his mother to the hospital. It's only Delta I'm hearing for the first time talking about no services in our hospitals. So to EFCC, I don't know what he's talking about, though he said, let me tell you guys what you may not have known. On Thursday last week, this same character was on TVC. If he could not afford good medical services for his mother, and he says he's not working for somebody, how is he able to fund his being on national television, moving from one national television to another, yet he couldn't take his mother to a good hospital? He couldn't pay 7,000 naira.
It's important to, pardon me, let me just set the record straight. I can speak for Channels Television. This interaction is not paid for in any way. This is us raising issues that must be spoken about. All right, so just to clear that, I don't know what happens elsewhere, but right here on Channels Television, you cannot do that, and we don't do that. So please, you can land on your point.
No, what I'm saying, traveling alone, I'm not saying that he paid you, traveling alone, maybe by air, by road, moving from Obiaruku to Lagos, is something. He would have been able to pay just 7,000 per annum for healthcare for his mother. That's the point I was making. In any case, for EFCC, this is a rehash. He said 2024. Okowa in the first place was never arrested or detained. The man was on vacation outside this country with an invitation came from EFCC. And when he returned, he went there as a law-abiding Nigerian, a gentleman that he is. He went to EFCC himself and spent one night just because of his statement in responding to the allegations in the petitions that were brought before him. So that was not detention. When he finished making his statement, he was allowed to leave. He came back to Asaba. And when on his return, we came out with a statement in that November 2024. A statement that today, the statement gave an account of receipts, revenue that came to the state and expenditure. Till this date, it has not been controverted by anybody. It has not. That statement we came out with in November 2024 hasn't been controverted till today. EFCC has been allowed to do their job. Senator Dr. Okowa said, I am not afraid of being investigated. I'm not shying away. He has never left Delta State. He lives in Delta. Not to talk about those who live outside, they can go to Dubai and anywhere to stay. Okowa lives in Asaba, in Delta State. He has not gone anywhere. He's not afraid of any investigation. I said so. If EFCC has investigated, because he's making it as if first he said EFCC alleged. EFCC does not allege anything against anybody. Just an anti-graft.
And Mr. Fejika, less than 6 months after that invitation, Dr. Okowa defects to the All Progressives Congress, and then more than a year after that, we haven't heard anything about that case raised by the EFCC anymore.
How does that concern Dr. Okowa or myself? EFCC had the liberty to do investigation. If they've concluded an invitation, when you conclude invitation as an investigation agency, the next is a charge to court. If you find issues that will go to court, if you don't find any issues, it's your business. So I expect him to have gone to EFCC to say, what is the position of this case? But to come on national television saying that Dr. Okowa must be rearrested, must be detained, must be arraigned. It's like giving instruction to EFCC. EFCC has done its work since 2024.
Yeah.
They've done their investigations. If they have concluded, which we don't know, if they've concluded, it behoves on EFCC either to charge the matter to court or to let it be. It's their own business, not Mr. Tagana's business.
Yeah, sadly, the absent third party to this conversation, which is the EFCC, is not here. So this is a direct invitation to the EFCC to also, provide clarity on the case against Senator Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa. But we must anchor the conversation at this point, and thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming to put light to these issues. Mr. Ofochi Atagana is a convener, Coalition of Delta North Youths, who has joined us from our Abuja studio. And we've also had Mr. Olisa Ifejika, Chief Press Secretary to former Governor Ifeanyi Okowa. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on the morning brief.
Thank you for having me this morning.
Thank you.
We'll take a moment now. When we return, there's more politics to come. The People's Democratic Party Board of Trustees has inaugurated an interim national working committee to pilot the affairs of the party. What does that mean, especially for 2027? Stay with us for details just ahead.